away, Appiah Kubi, and having listened to this detail, and it was important that I let me put out this detail, and also being one of the senior members of parliament on the other side, the NPP. I mean, the fundamental concern here is some level of accountability, clarity as to how this 58 million that has been sunk in so far has been spent, which is government, I mean, the taxpayers' money essentially, and then also these compensations that have been given out to people, which Parliament hasn't been giving full detail of. That is, even if you have the detail at all. And so a probe should be able to bring out such answers, at least for the Ghanaian people, is it not?
Yes, for me, the first issue is about who is doing what. Because it is even not clear whether it's a private project, whether it's a government project. So let's bring clarity to that issue. The concept document, how was it designed, and who was to take what, and who was to fund it? Because some refers to some conversation that suggests that they were going to do it with private funding. If it was conversation alone, without documentation, that's a lot of problem there. Let me understand which authority did we even envisage developing the National Cathedral, number one. In that, we will be able to find who are the interested parties. And again, we're discussing the contract for construction of the buildings. Who are the parties in that contract? It's important for me to know. And if we make reference to the contract, we will see who is instructing who and for what contractual terms. It's important for us to understand that. There was mention of releases of finances. Who is at the other end of the transaction? I want to believe that, and Sam is referring to Minister of Finance all the time. Who has received what? It's important for us to know.
Yeah, the National Cathedral Secretariat, Rebade.
Now, National Cathedral Secretariat,
yes,
as what entity, with what capacity to do the things they want to do? Is it a legal persona with capacity to do the things that a proposed wants to do? There are a lot of questions around. Let's find out. And again, are there any audit reports? Audit reports delivered to who? For whose consideration? Is the Auditor General also aware of these payments, and as the Auditor General also captured this in the audit reports, and how have we dealt with it? These are issues. But all that put together, I think we can find solution in Article 41F of our Constitution.
What? Okay.
And with your kind permission, maybe
right.
I will
read that for me.
Read that for you. Article 41, and the exercise and enjoyment of rights and freedoms is inseparable from the performance of duties and obligations, and accordingly, it shall be the duty of every Ghanaian. And we go to 4, to protect and preserve public property and expose and combat misuse of waste of public funds and property. And when this right is to be enjoyed with responsibilities, and the Constitution enjoins all of us to protect and prevent the usage and wastage, it then becomes a mandate bestowed on us as citizens to be able to probe and stop such waste and mismanagement of public funds. And where do we go? Then it means it directs us to a course. It gives us capacity on this constitutional provision to go to court. it is not enough to be out there lamenting and shouting hoarse and saying that we demand this, that doesn't come. Let us use the appropriate legal means to make such demands of persons so identified in the scheme of things. So that if Appiah Kubi has been in the receiving end of some money, then the court directs an order towards me that Appiah Kubi deliver this money to account number so and so, for reason that you are found culpable for having taken this money which otherwise ought not to have been given to you. I am only directing that beyond the agitations, beyond the lamentations, the Constitution provides us with a route through which we can also seek the redress that we are expecting. Because if we are in the public space shouting that I expect this to come, it may not come because we are not shouting to anybody. But let us bundle out our claims through the law and forward them to the appropriate courts with appropriate orders of the court to compare performance. There we will be sure that we are dealing with Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. B. But the way we are going and dealing with unknown people in the air, we may do that years on, we may not get the necessary responses. So he mentions...
Well, I'm not sure about that because I'm a petition church. There are aspects of it in court. Kosi Boateng took me to court. He's lost.
Those were
he's lost 3 rounds already.
That does not address...
Then there's also a motion before Parliament. We filed a motion.
Listen,
so,
Sammy,
I'm doing my best.
Somebody takes you to court on defamation. It doesn't affect this. This is a mandate bestowed on citizens.
How about the Shraj petition?
I
just wanted to know the various aspects.
The Shraj petition. Yes, but I don't know the reliefs there also.
We are appealing to Shraj.
I don't know the reliefs also there. But this one...
That's on conflict of interest.
On the monies. I am not interested in whether or not this was right, this was not right. I am interested in the retrieval of monies expended in this
So
budget.
the parliamentary probe will help.
The parliamentary probe, it may identify certain flaws. But I'm saying that I'm interested in how to retrieve the money. And I'm developing this channel that this is how we can deliver the money.
And how do you propose that the money should be retrieved, could be retrieved?
The money, through the Constitution, says that you, as a person, Ghanaian, you are vested with mandate, capacity, to prosecute a nation to retrieve this money. And this is
a provision.
Go to court.
To seek what? Causing financial loss to the state?
No. Retrieve this money. Causing financial loss to the state is a criminal matter.
That one is criminal. It's only
we are not interested in the criminal aspect. The criminal aspect, the mandate per the Constitution rests with the Attorney General.
You want the
and the Attorney General may decide whether or not it's justiciable to go to court on these matters. And the only way we can compel Attorney General
so it's honorable suggesting that
a mandamus order, and it's a long process. I'm not probably interested.
But honorable, are you therefore suggesting that the government itself should not be interested in retrieving these money? That only citizens...
No. Because, I'm not suggesting that.
Because
what I'm saying is that...
Because if you look at the constitution, what haven't I done? I have advocated. We have even led matches. We've done media engagement. We've gone to Shraj. We are I've filed motions in Parliament.
Out your hands in the air.
Thank you for your...
And I'm also bringing out an alternative way. You have made the appeals to government, whatever institutions. You are not getting the results. And I'm saying that there is also a constitutional conduit through which we can seek the same reliefs. And I'm also showing you that through Article 41F, you are close with capacity to go to court and get court to make certain pronouncements directed at persons and institutions to bring A, B, C, D. So I'm sure that probably that would be the better way to seek redress by way of retrieving all these lost funds. Because in matters of causing financial loss, you don't have capacity because the Constitution doesn't give you that right.
Yeah, that's for the Attorney General.
And the Attorney General may decide to go or not to go. So it doesn't rest in your hands. What rests in your hands is a civil action through the courts for retrieval of those monies. And I urge you to continue with that. You mentioned somebody having taken 6 million.
Yeah.
The 6 million, how did he take it? Who gave it to him? Under what circumstance? Under what contract? Let's look at investigating all that.
Contract.
And
there's no contract with Sanders?
No.
Well,
no contract. Under what circumstance was he given the money?
National Cathedral Secretary gave him the money.
So it means that we need to do further work on that to find who has done what. And in case there is negligence on the part of any public officer, you see, and I continue to say that let us criminalize professional negligence. You can bring an action in negligence to retrieve damages, but that may not necessarily be enough. I mean, if I negligently cause loss of 6 million and you sue, you bring an action in tort, sue me on negligence, and I even bring then 6 million. Is that enough to punish my criminal mind? Then it means that if we criminalize professional negligence, then the engineer who would have supervised a road to my village and didn't do a good job, paid him without him doing good work, will also come under criminal negligence. So, I mean, but that does not exist so far in our statute books. Mm-hmm. So let's find a way to retrieve that money. And I'm saying that the contract for the construction, we can easily identify the parties in the contract and see whether even those people are clothed with adequate capacity to even go into contracting. Whether the contracts, the content of the contracts provide issues of unconscionability, we can also look at that and see how unconscionable some of the contracts have been, and the reliefs available to us having suffered unconscionable contracting. You see, so all that I'm suggesting is that we cannot be satisfied by only throwing our hands in the air and expecting somebody who may not be interested in providing answers to our questions, when the law also gives us the route to go through the courts. The trustees of the board of National Cathedral, I'm sure they understood the terms of their engagement and they knew the consequences of their participation, and whether or not even the trustees, the board, the National Cathedral board is registered as a limited liability company or public interest company. I am not aware of that. And if people came on the board knowing their responsibilities and that their fiduciary relationship with the entity and the consequences thereof, and having come on it, then they are answerable for their actions against. You see, we can bring such people to come and also respond to our questions.
I see.
But you are saying that we have a list of members of parliament having been selected by the minority.
Yes, so that's what I want to find out why, if you have any idea why your side has not nominated your reps.
I'm not aware of that.
To the committee.
I'm not aware. And indeed, no such order will be directed at me to provide any list, because I'm not in the list.
Indeed, I certainly would.
It is also possible for the speaker himself, if he is finding difficulty getting people from one side of through the leadership, it's possible for him to nominate people and say, I select A, B, C, D from minority, E, F, G, H from majority.
And that's if he is so minded.
Yes, that's the speaker's committee. And it's a committee of the speaker, it's a committee of the House. So you will do what otherwise the committee to be selected by leadership of majority and minority will do. So it is not foreclosed that because somebody is not appointing people from. I have not been contacted to serve on any such committee.
Okay.
So the speaker can appoint. The wastage, your expectation of prosecution on the wastage, on the law of causing financial loss. I'm sure you also understand that you are limited by that claim because the Constitution didn't give you the power to prosecute. Okay. And therefore, you can only just make a complaint, and your complaint will be subject to investigation. And if it's in the opinion of the Attorney General that we have not raised justiciable issues, then your complaint will die at that point. So, except that you can also go to court for orders of mandamus to compel, but again, it's a very difficult process. And, it has also constitutional immunity to make a determination as to whether or not even prosecution can go. And let us also not forget that nolle prosequa is also there. Even once you are in court and Attorney General thinks that he doesn't want to continue with the prosecution, you file notice of nolle prosequa, and that will be the end of the story. I think that where you can control your destiny is the path you have to take, and that is filing a civil suit in the court, and that will be at your determination. Once you are able to prove your case before the court, the orders will be given by the court and directed at identified persons to be able to provide relief for your claims. And it is a very silent area of the Constitution that is seldomly exploited. And I think that upon advice, my colleague, Sami, it's one area that you can look. And we are not allowed to advertise our services.
Indeed. But